This is the Monongah mine explosion disaster memorial in Monongah, West Virginia. You'll notice on here it says that 361 coal miners were killed. That was a number of tags that they could find on the board that they hung on the outside of the mine to let people know that miners were in the mine. The problem with this number is the explosion blew out the front of the mine, and the boards that held those tags were on there. It said that there were well over 500 miners. Now another thing about it is, these are people that had a tag. That's not counting the fact that these miners would have their child and go and work with them, because then they didn't have to pay a loader out of their own pay, and the child could work for free to help their family. After talking to a local here in Monongah, it said that this is a street that you see the old black and white pictures of, that they had the caskets laid out, or the coffins laid out in the streets, the wood pine boxes with the dead, the ones that they could recover the bodies from. These people were so mangled and burnt so bad that many of them could not be were not recognized, and they ended up being buried in a mass grave situation, is my understanding of the history. Now, I asked this local, is there any mass cemetery around here? And he said no. He said they're scattered all around the hills, and there's basically not any real mass recognition area or where all the bodies are. You know what I mean? There's so many of those people. The only reason they knew there were so many bodies there is because of those tags. Believe me, there's only probably about 200 people, is my understanding from what I read, out of all those that were mentioned that was lost, that their bodies line this street here, laid out for their wives to try to identify. This is a marker in a cemetery at Monongah, West Virginia, which had the largest mine explosion in American history. You'll notice up on the hill there, I was told that that was a pauper area where they buried the people who had no one to claim their bodies in a mass burial for mainly the Italian. The biggest part of the town was Italian. Okay, and it's my understanding there's a lot of graves up along the top that were from the miners from the explosion. Okay, the significance of this memorial here is showing a child holding onto his father's hand, with many children went in to help their father, via either loading coal or holding a canary to make sure that they were in a safe area, or holding light or whatever, and work with their father. And many children got killed in this explosion. There's no account how many children were in this mine. But this was in a time when child labor was not uncommon at all. It was in 1907. They say 361 men died, many of whom were Italian, perished in the mine in Monongah, West Virginia. These men were often accompanied by their young sons and other family members who assisted them in the mines. See, those people didn't have a tag. It was only an employee. And any agreement they had with their family member that actually worked for the mine doing the loading or whatever, well, that was in between him and the miner, because the miner was treated like contract labor in a way for his tonnage weight. It says there are countless others who lost their lives that day who still remain unknown. Only God knows their faces and their names and the true number who departed this life. There's two mines that were connected underground. West Virginia was the only state it was illegal to have connecting mines underground. One mine exploded, started an explosion in another mine. Okay, so there was two mines that exploded, and when the reason why they also say in excess of 500 miners is because, like I said, one of the tag boards that held the tags to show how many bodies were underground, at the time of the explosion, got blown away with the explosion of the mine. All right, now on this day, town Monongah pulled together and buried its dead. Those men, mostly buried within the arms of the cemetery, left their wives and children in this country in a land far away.